Okay, so today I'm going to be doing for my art collector multimillionaires again one of these art process videos, and here we have a couple of photographs that have been taken from variety of sources by me. They are overexposed photographs. This one is taken out of a campfire with an LED light. Yeah, and we are kind of doing this multi-layered approach with these pictures. I'm going to go through the process at the same time as I'm going to explain it to you and that kind of stuff. And we do this overlaying of different pictures on top of each other like this, and we try to get a good composition. A composition means how the elements are placed in the picture. For example, here we have a large block of something against a dark block of something else, and you see how they kind of balance each other out. And then when we get this third layer over here that we are, it's a very simplistic layer. It's also from the campfire, but it's just, starting to go out in this picture. You would never guess that's how the picture was made, but that's how it was made. And the borders I have in this art style are that I have to take these pictures myself. Nobody else can take the pictures for me. I feel that not even a volunteer or anybody that wants to help in this, because it kind of has to have my own signature of my hand movement in it. So I do this on my own in that way. But the staging process, for example, this fire wasn't like made by me. It was kind of, the staging process is there I can use other people's help, but not in the picture, taking the pictures, because it has to have my own, it has to have my own hand signature in it. So we're gonna do it like that, and we're gonna save the whole of that into one picture. Okay, and I'm gonna be a pretty daring type of artist over here. It's a pretty daring type of art in general, because it's made by such a freaking convoluted process. It's such a convoluted process that it's kind of interesting that you can get to a kind of painterly type of digital art piece in the end. And I have explained in some other videos why I actually found out how to make this kind of art, and I know that it's a really rare thing, to actually do this kind of thing. I have the texts over here in Finnish, but you can kind of grasp it what I'm doing just by looking at it. We're gonna change the colors of this layer, and that's just by feel. I just feel that has to be that way, and there's no other reason, I just feel. And you see that my new camera creates much softer edges, and that's good. It doesn't get this graining effect so much as with the older camera. I like that about the new camera. And we're gonna try some things out. I like this shape over here. I like this shape over here. I like that. I like that. That's good. That's good. I really dig that. I really dig that. Okay, now we're gonna start overlaying these things on top of each other. We have one of those. Okay, so you see how they kind of overlap each other. I think that's great on its own right now. Then we are gonna try to add this layer on top of this one, and we're gonna try to get that kind of shape to show pretty good. It kind of touches the other one, and I don't know if that's good or bad, or I don't know. It's kind of interesting. I like how that looks. And then we're gonna add like just the bottom layer, this nature picture with the spider web. This picture, and we're gonna make this picture like really emphasized. Maybe like we're gonna make it like really crazy, to kind of like really make it pop out of the background. So we're gonna use something like this, We're gonna use something like this a couple of times. Like that, and then we're gonna even do something like this to make it a little bit more reddish, and then we're gonna use this layer over here and completely change the color of this thing like that. That's really psychedelic on its own, you know. That's really fun. So quite a funny picture on its own, but it's too photography, you know. That's what I want to get rid of in these pictures, is that they shouldn't feel like photographs. I want to kind of make that that feeling, you know, that when realist painters paint, the feeling you get is that a photograph, you know? For example, Andrew Tisler, you know, when he did his art, he was always asked, and some of these other, is that a photograph? And he kind of had to always say that no, it's a painting. And I kind of want to the opposite effect of in my art. Is that really a photograph? You know, is that really a photograph of, or like I want that kind of feeling in the piece. So it's kind of the reverse of realism, you know. So we're gonna do it like that. That's great. It just has funny, great shapes in it and that kind of stuff. We're not overanalyzing at this point. So it's kind of funny that you take something that is kind of almost a critique and you kind of flip it around, you know. You know, it's kind of almost a critique to say to somebody that is that really a is that a photograph out of a painting, you know, because photographs are so easy to kind of take, you know. But you understand that um, all of these photographs, for example, here, they kind of take time. They take a lot of deliberation on their own part, and it requires this kind of big picture way to look at things, you know, to kind of understand that this picture doesn't like work on its own yet. We need some other layers over here to kind of like understand pictorial space in a very deep way that only comes through a lot of, you know, I have done a lot of painting, and here we are starting to get to that kind of, it has some fieriness in it and I like it, but it has some natural shapes on top of some really more, I would say, just abstract type of shapes. This looks like a brushstroke, but it's a brushstroke of light. And I like that about this picture, but I feel that there has to be some kind of shape that would maybe go something like this over here. So we're gonna find a picture like that, but overall that picture is really fun at the moment already, but it doesn't quite feel finished. But I always save these layers like this, so I have all the versions, and this is better in this type of art, that you can just keep working at it and you won't butcher it because you have all the versions saved, you know. Okay, and you have to keep in mind that I'm a Finnish dude, you know, and I explain my art process at the same time in a foreign language as I make this art for you over here. And this is just really a this is just a experimental thing I'm gonna do. This is a black and white picture, and this is actually taken out of a place that actually is an art gallery, you know, and here in this city I live in, and it's kind of interesting what we are trying to accomplish here. You see that when we change around this layer over here in the background, if we kind of really emphasize, you know, the blacks, for example, you see what happens, you know, you get this kind of feel. And you could do this kind of things, that, but I feel that this is too representational, not abstract enough, and it kind of gets the picture to be this kind of mishmash, and I don't like that. I want it to feel like a cohesive whole. So I might like make this layer, you know, I would just give it a little bit, you know, of opaqueness or of transparency, you know, so get that kind of feel in it. I like that much more it's much more, you know, mysterious, you know, you could say. And then if we add this layer under here also, you start to see that we can even fade out that a little bit. Just leave it a little bit over there, and that's good. And then we're gonna really maybe make this layer, change around this a bit, and maybe make this layer more opaque. You know, you see that it has almost no effect at this point, the change we are doing over here. It almost has no effect. If we make this layer a little bit more transparent, you know, you play around with this stuff, and you at the end can gain some kind of whatever it might be. So let's change around this layer at this point. Kind of like that. I like that compositionally, you know, it's great. That composition is great. And then we're gonna just, you know, just a hint of those rocks, you know, the background, and I feel that that's starting to get in the balance. It's a really interesting and hard abstraction, because there's a lot of big shapes and natural shapes and spider web, and you know, and these start to look. I feel that this looks watercolor type, you know. So let's keep, yeah. So let's look at this and kind of start looking at it like this. I dig this. This has some kind of it brings to mind this game called Street Fighter. There are all kinds of effects in the game that kind of resemble this, or Tekken, you know. The games, they have the graphic art and that kind of stuff. They have same kind of movements in them, and that kind of stuff. I like that, you know. That's really cool. Like that's so expressive, and you know, like holy shit, like using fire in this, like this stuff is ingenious, you know, like would you guess that that comes out of a freaking fire, you know, like, man, like that's so fucking clever. I'm pretty a clever guy, you know. I know that. At least I don't see this done like every day, you know. Yeah, you could go around and start taking abstract pictures of out of fires, you know, and you could do that. That's not a problem, you know. You can't own any idea, but I'm just saying that to make a whole picture like this, it requires so much, you know. You're not gonna be able to recreate something like this very easily, you know. And staging this picture, it cost me something like, what I say, like 1,000 euros, but you know, I can make so many different versions out of it, and well, maybe more if you include the cameras, you know. There was a actually, all of these pictures were actually taken on my new camera, so you see the finish of the picture is much higher fidelity, you know, what I would say. So let's look at it again. I like that one, but that's too faded out. That's really good. That's perfect, you know. That's perfect. It has enough contrast and that kind of stuff. That feels a little bit more cohesive, but that pops more, and I want that in my pictures. I want that pop, you know. I want it to like, you know, get attention, you know, you would say that. So let's just butcher it up right now, because we have the best version, I feel, out of the picture. And let's make it yellow. Let's increase the contrast a bit over here. You see how the purples are coming out over there. Let's change around the white a little bit, and then I'm going to explain that I have been doing this marketing. I have this portfolio page that's linked in the description. There are these ready or this like finished art pieces. You can check them out over there. And I have in some of the pictures you can see many versions of the same picture. If you like some version better than others, you can save them from there and that kind of stuff. And because this picture has so much white, I'm going to give this one a signature also. I'm gonna give this one a signature, and I'm going to explain to you that if you want to make a good signature in digital art, I feel that it should match the shapes of the final piece. For example, here I could use this font because this is kind of how would I say, kind of rough, you know, it's kind of rough font. But I don't know what color I should go with. I'm gonna put it over here. And I'm gonna make it like maybe that, like that. And we're gonna pick the color over here, and then we are gonna use we're gonna write this again like this. And we're gonna use the yellow color instead in the other part, like this, or like a darker shade, you know. If you don't understand this stuff yet, every color has a value that's a shade of gray. If you translate this picture into the shades of gray, you know, you understand how the final product comes out. And this looks actually like, this looks very painterly, you know. This looks like it has been made with a brush. I probably should contact, you know, that Andrew Tisler guy and kind of explain that he didn't really appreciate modern art or abstract art, but I feel that he was talking so much about photography that, so yeah, he was talking about so much about photography, Andrew Tisler, that I feel that, you know, he might be interested in this kind of stuff, because this is kind of rare, I feel. But yeah, that's one version I did. You can continue on changing it up like into infinity. Maybe we could. So yeah, we're gonna change it up as the final note over here, and try to see if we can bring more stuff out of it. And you see that here, when we use it like this, you know, we get, well, it's made out of fire, you know, some of the pictures, so it kind of makes sense with the same color schemes. But you know, you can change it up. You have all the freedom in the world inside of this box, you know. You can do anything. This is freedom art, you know. Yeah, I feel there's a lot of freedom in it, and I like doing this kind of stuff. And I really like looking at abstract art because it kind of makes you think about life in a different way. It makes you forget all the items and all the people and all the kind of stuff that kind of gives boundaries around things, you know. It kind of gets you into this unified, you know, this mindset, and I like that about abstract art. But I know that not everybody appreciates abstract art, and it's kind of, you know, I feel at this point that it's just you know, you understand it or you don't understand it. That, and I feel that if you are an artist yourself and you don't appreciate abstract art, I feel that you probably still can understand the basic principles of good abstract art making, composition and that kind of stuff. You understand that here we have a large block of black, here we have lighter shade, we have white, this kind of points here, you know. You understand these things if you are an artist yourself. It's the visual language of the picture making. But if you are not an artist, you won't understand these things at all, so abstract art can feel kind of alien. But I can say that everybody is a color expert and everybody is an art expert, because if a picture is off, it will feel no good, you know. This is starting to get into a really expressive territory, maybe, you know, a really kind of abstract, expressionistic type of field. And how do you even achieve that kind of feeling in in photography? You know, how do you even achieve that kind of, you know, that oomph, you know, that you get from some abstract art pieces? You know, how do you achieve that? Let's make it red. uh, how do you achieve that? Well, you achieve that through movement, because in the pictures, when I take these pictures, you know, I move my hands. I kind of like paint with the camera, you know. uh, it's very rooted in my past, in my art making. I drew in the forest, and I drew models and this kind of stuff, and I drew a lot, and I painted a lot of abstract paintings. I painted some representational paintings. I never got that good in it, but you know, it just wasn't my style. And I feel that in art, it's really about finding your style and your process. You know, it's even more important than your style, your process. It's kind of the same thing, you know. And that's, if you think about, like, if you have followed my channel and are thinking that this guy has more maybe style than many people, it's because of my art background, you know. And you see how the detective kind of disappeared over there. And I feel that the right final version of the picture that we are gonna make will be the one that shows the detective through that white on the background, whatever it might be. Let's pick that one and make it a little bit more retro in its feel. And I feel that I want to also, oh yeah, that's great. I dig that one. You know, that's so, you know, I don't know, like, that's great. You know, that's just great. Maybe it's supposed to be that way. You know, that there's, you know, it lacks that, you know, the detective, you know, truth detective kind of. Holy shit, that's fucking that's expressive, you know. So yeah, that's expressive. That feels like, that looks like some kind of, you know, sickness, you know. I started doing this actually when I got pretty sick with this kind of digestive, you know, it's chronic illness that I have at this point. And I felt huge pains, you know, like in my digestive system. It kind of has settled now, but I felt huge kind of issues. I thought I was really like dying, you know. And I did this art through that, you know, that pain. And I kind of, if you think about, you know, I'm left-handed, so usually my compositions have this kind of left-right like interplay on them. I try to avoid putting things in the middle, and well, I try to make it feel like nothing, you know, like it's nothing. I try to make it like not focused on some middle point, you know, that kind of stuff. And now you see how the balance of the picture kind of suffered through that. When I started changing around the values, and that feels pretty good, you know, that feels pretty good. I even like that one. There's something really, really, really interesting about that. You know, we are getting to so subtle changes of shade over here in these colors, and we're trying to create this kind of feeling in the picture that the picture is a cohesive whole, and it comes from a background color related to the colors in the picture itself. And I would go with something like, well, no. Let's get rid of that. Something like that. That's pretty wild, you know. That's just pretty wild. So thanks for watching. Here were my abstract art endeavors, and you can see that the the signature is really faded, but isn't that kind of the point? So thanks for watching. Oh yeah, and let's go through the process over here one more time. I'm going to show you this. We started over here, and then we went to here. We went through here. We looked at this one. Then we made this change in the picture. We kind of got this on the left, this kind of brush stroke type of feel. We went through this type of layering. We got the spider web over here. It's starting to get really complex. It's an interesting picture on its own, but it feels too much like a photograph. Then we go deeper into it. We get this type of watercolor type. Here's an art gallery on the background. We go in deeper. We try to get it to not so very much. We emphasize those colors more. We get this kind of contrast in the picture, and I feel that that's pretty great on its own. It might use a signature on it. It might, well, no, I don't think that. Well, that's great. I think that's a great photo. That's a great one. That's a great one also. It's a little bit more understated and like that, but if we go back a little bit, you know, I just feel that that's just so, you know, that's just so powerful. And I like the spider web thing that, you know, kind of gives the picture this movement, and you see that how light we actually got this layer over here. That's great. It's great, yeah. And then we flipped around the colors, and I think this one is good. I think this one is pretty dark. And you see how color change, you know, makes the picture feel completely different. This one is really, you know, I think this one is good, you know. And here we get here this one is better because it's lighter on the shades. This one has a darker contrast, or, you know, you get darker blacks and that kind of stuff. And yeah, I feel that yeah, that's great also, but that's good. It has to feel this. The picture has to feel kind of one single thing. You see how in this one you start to get that background foreground type of separation. Here no, here it's just one whole. It's balance. It's all about balance. This art is about fucking balance. You have to understand that. So thanks for watching. You can gain a lot of wisdom from here to your representational art, but also like really into your abstract art. Thanks for watching.